Hi, thanks so much for your patience. My summer turned out to be a lot busier in a good way than I expected it to be, so I was not able to record anything else after the Doofenshmirtz video. But in the intervening time, we got up to 50 subscribers, so thanks for that. Actually, we got up to 45 and then up to 50, but as I said, I wasn't able to record anything. Related to that, I have decided to move these in popular culture videos to every 10 subscribers since 45 happened really fast, which I'm so thankful for. But in order to have time to get them ready and also do other things in between, I'm moving it up to every 10 subscribers. And yeah, with that, let's move on to all the other characters in Phineas and Ferb who display a lot of traits of being on the spectrum. Starting strong with Candace Flynn, as was pointed out to me in the comments of my Phineas and Ferb video. Candace, again, is the third member of the Flynn-Fletcher family, though not the last, to exhibit a lot of traits of being on the spectrum. She has her hyperfixations, obviously. A big one throughout the show is Jeremy Johnson, who, over the course of the show, they do end up dating, and in the future episode, they've got three kids actually, two of whom are named Xavier and Amanda, and the third of whom looks like a little carbon copy of Jeremy. So presumably things turned out pretty well on that front. And yeah, her Jeremy is sort of second only to Phineas and Ferb as far as her fixation on him. She has her special interest, Ducky Momo. She talks about how the world seemed really weird to her, and then something about this character helped her navigate it a little better when she was a kid, which that's something I can relate to as far as like helping navigating the world a little better when it seemed like a really weird place to my little kid self based on just with certain fictional characters and TV shows I liked as a kid. She has a really extensive collection of Ducky Momo merchandise, so forming specific collections again is another symptom. Um, she stays up all night finishing the entire collection of Sherlock Holmes books that her grandmother in England has, and then uses it to fuel her. So she forgoes sleep in order to pursue this new hyperfixation, which she uses the information she gleans from that to fuel her biggest hyperfixation that drives forward a lot of the plot points of the show, busting Phineas and Ferb. Of course, the show itself would not be half as entertaining without Candace's various attempts to bust Phineas and Ferb, show their mom what they've been doing. There is an episode where she literally splits into her two biggest hyperfixations, Phineas and Ferb and Jeremy. And the hyperfixation with Phineas and Ferb has an interesting it almost derails some of her relationships a few times. Like that one episode, the Lemonade Stand, when she and Stacy have like a almost friend breakup because of her fixation on Phineas and Ferb. Poor Stacy kind of takes a backseat sometimes to Candace's obsessions. Like her brothers, she thrives on routine. She's developed sort of a reliance on the crazy routine their family has of Phineas and Ferb build massive, incredible inventions, and then she tries to show them to her mom to no avail. So, like in the episode Best Lazy Day Ever, when Phineas and Ferb decide, you know what, we're just going to relax today. Candace at first is incredibly skeptical that they're actually not going to do anything today. And she's hyper vigilant, keeping an eye on them. Like, as soon as I turn my back, they're going to start inventing something. And then she has kind of a mini breakdown because they really are just not going to do anything. And oh no, if they're not doing this, then my routine for the day can't happen. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do without this like routine built around my biggest hyperfixation, which, you know, it's exaggerated because it's a cartoon but I've definitely had moments like that where it's like, but this thing that I thought was going to happen can't happen, and what am I going to do about this? And like it sort of derails everything else that day, and like she almost misses going to Jeremy's concert because she's so busy trying to get the boys to build something so that her day can get back on track. So yeah, that reliance on routine that she and Phineas actually respond to these changes in their routine in a similar way, like we talked about in the Phineas and Ferb episode. Like Phineas, again, has a little mini breakdown when he can't invent stuff. Ferb's a little more quiet, a little more reserved about it, but Phineas is like, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. Candace does the exact same thing practically, where like, ooh, I'll put this camera in place when no, they're not gonna do that. I'm gonna look great when I'm busting. No, I can't do that either. So I think Candace and Phineas, you can see that similarity in the intensity of, like the external intensity of the distress caused by this change in routine. It's really interesting. Fourth and final member of the Flynn Fletcher clan to exhibit a good number of autistic traits is Lawrence, which means that Linda definitely has a type because she went on a date with Doofenshmirtz, however brief but eventful that was, and obviously she married Lawrence, which tells me she's into tall nerds with dark brown hair on the autism spectrum. So, fun fact about Linda. Lawrence is quite nerdy. He's aware of this fact about himself. He refers to himself as hopelessly nerdy in the context of that episode, Meet Max Modem, where Linda is reconnecting with her past as Lindana. And he's worried because she's going to be meeting all these cool, hip people, and he feels like he's going to get left behind a little bit. So he becomes a nerdy rock star instead of a nerdy antique store owner for a day. And then, she's like, oh, this is cool, but, I was fine with you how you were before. Lawrence is a history buff who owns and operates an antique store. He also does lectures. I'm not quite sure, like, is he a professor somewhere part-time? I don't know. It's never really talked about, but he knows his stuff when it comes to history. I think that's one of his interests. He likes sharing little facts and interesting, like, things he finds interesting about his various hyperfixations and special interests. Oh yeah, with regards to his, no, right. There's so much to say. I'm trying to condense it. What's that next? Oh yeah. He sees offering to hold someone's hand as a really big step in their relationship. We see this in the Dude, We're Getting the Band Back Together episode. They do end up kissing, but when the kiss cam light falls on them, Lawrence, like most people would assume, oh, we're supposed to kiss right now, and maybe that's what she wants. Like the way she's looking at him, I think there are a lot of people who would assume she wants to kiss. He thinks, okay, we've never even held hands. This feels like a big deal. Let's hold hands. Which, if you're not comfortable with physical contact, is a really big step to like, no, I want to hold your hand. I want to touch you in some way because I really, really like you. So you can see that. And similar to Candace, he has a childhood TV show that he really, really likes. It's that Pinhead Pierre one that comes up a couple of times. He informs the boys that he has the single largest collection of Pinhead paraphernalia in the entire universe. And then he says he's not proud, but he sounds kind of proud when he says it. So, again, that forming collections based on specific categories is a big thing. Moving along to their friends, Baljeet definitely displays a lot of traits of being on the spectrum. He shares this special interest, the space adventure film series with Phineas and Ferb. Actually, sometimes it seems like it's a series of films, other times it seems like it's a TV show. Maybe it's a TV show with movie specials like Star Trek, because it's definitely Star Trek flavored, as it were. But yeah, we see Baljeet watching the show, owns a lot of merchandise. He has models of the different ships in his room. We see at one point, one of them kind of looks like the Enterprise, so again, Star Trek coded. He cosplays as this almost Twi'lek looking guy. Obviously, Twi'leks are from Star Wars, but it seems kind of hybridized in that episode, Nerds of a Feather, and he's actually the leader of the faction of people who are really obsessed with the space adventure movies, so Speckies, in that whole intergenre geek war thing that happens in Nerds of a Feather. Baljeet leads this faction, so he cares enough about this TV show that he's gonna lead this faction. He's also, I forget, there's like a level of trivia master he's achieved. I forget which level it is, but like that's the basis for them declaring him their leader. He has some difficulties with social interactions. In the episode Bee Day, he's talking with Stacy's little sister Ginger about bee dancing. So, sharing information about a special interest. And he's surprised at how into it she is. Like, he's like, usually people aren't this interested in when I'm talking about this. They usually fall asleep or walk away. So, a little bit of awkwardness, which he himself is aware of, but I don't know that he's like knows how to do anything but that or interact other ways. He's really, really smart. He Phineas and Ferb send their blueprints to him so he can verify their math, make sure it's correct and everything. Uh, in that episode, Undercover Carl, when they're doing the anti-gravity fun launcher, he chuckles over their mistake placing a cosine where they needed a quadratic differential. like it's a simple mistake. I corrected it right away. I am not good at calculus. Baljeet is better at calculus than I am. He's like 10, 9, I don't even know. So, really smart kid. I can do other kinds of math, just not calculus. He designs a portal to Mars in that Unfair Science Fair episode, but he's not able to put it together himself. As he says, he's not mechanically inclined, and we see when he's trying to help them put it together, he's like using the wrong ends of the tools and using the wrench to hammer nails in. So he's not a terribly coordinated person. We see in various episodes the tools use thing being one of them. What else? Oh yeah, A-, worst grade of his life. Again, cartoony, smart. This is the Wizard of Oz. It's a dream Candace is having where this line occurs, but it's based on something he said in the real world before. So, despite my above average mathematical skills, that was a mathematical skill. Bleh. I don't know why I couldn't say that word. So that's going to be a fun little 30 seconds. Oi. Despite my above average mathematical skills, I am not cool. So he, like, again, that awkwardness, maybe some difficulty with social interaction. And, like, I'm really smart, but I don't actually know how to, like, talk to people very well. So that's definitely something Baljeet struggles with. Another one of their friends, Irving. We don't know as much about him, but what we do know about him does seem to point to autism spectrum. Similar to Candace, his hyperfixation is Phineas and Ferb, the main one we see. And unlike Candace, obviously it's like admiration, adulation, but he's also keeping track of everything they do in this little scrapbook here. Like Phineas, Ferb, and Baljeet, he has this other like special interest, the space adventure series of films, movies, jury is still out. And he is sort of the second in command of the faction of Speckies in that Nerds of a Feather episode. To the point of like disowning his brother and just sort of assuming Phineas would have done the same because his brother has a different special interest movie, which is the other one at the center of this intergenre geek war. Albert probably is also on the spectrum. We see him for like half an episode every so often, so I don't have enough to work with. But yeah, so obviously cares a lot about this TV show. He has a lock of Ferb's hair. We don't know where he got it. That's never elaborated on. But he keeps close tabs on Phineas and Ferb. Obviously has a lot of respect and admiration for them. And yeah, forms that fixation on them to the point where he can name pretty much everything they've done, even ones that like Candace doesn't know about, even ones that Phineas doesn't even necessarily seem to remember sometimes. So very, very hyper focus on Phineas and Ferb. And finally, my personal favorite character in probably the entire show next to Doofenshmirtz. What's he doing here? There he is. Perry the autistic platypus. Perry's a really fun one. I mean, for starters, he's teal, which is a color commonly used to symbolize autism spectrum disorder, so right away, perfect, right? Um, he, similar to a lot of characters in the show, partly just due to the design of the show and the whole shtick of like this happens every day, but no one can escape it. He also has that thriving on routine trait. He has trouble adjusting to change. So, like in the episode It's About Time, when Doofenshmirtz says they need to take a break, Perry turns in his fedora. He's Alka's best agent. That's stated multiple times. He could get another nemesis, but it wouldn't be Doofenshmirtz. So he's gonna need a while to adjust to this change. I mean, he would, unless things, go back to normal by the end of the episode with him and Doofenshmirtz being actual nemesis again. But when he thinks Doofenshmirtz won't be his nemesis anymore, he is deeply depressed and takes Doofenshmirtz back as soon as Doofenshmirtz says he wants to. Like, Perry has a hard time adjusting to that change in that episode, even though he ultimately doesn't have to for very long, which is good for him. Another indication that he really just likes the routine of fighting Doofenshmirtz is in that episode, Journey to the Center of Candace, when Doof suggests mixing it up a little. Like, we always do the same thing. Let's try and mix up the order a little bit. Perry takes him down immediately. I know this isn't the picture from when he actually takes him down, but I couldn't find the actual picture of Doof handcuffed. And this is still from that episode. So, like, to the point where Monogram's a little thrown, actually, because, wait a second, you got Doofenshmirtz already. Normally we have a little more time to arrange backup. So the fact that Perry doesn't just take Doof down immediately every single time means that Perry's probably just enjoying the routine at this point and enjoying having fun with their little ritual. He has a hard time working with other people. We see in the episode Sidetracked, where he has to work with Agent Lila Lollyberry from Canada. He is not happy about working with somebody else. He does warm up to it eventually, but not for a while. And he also doesn't seem to like hugging. Like, he likes it when Phineas and Ferb hold him or pet him. He doesn't seem to like getting touched by anybody else, because like we see Candace picks him up. He doesn't seem to like it. I mean, to be fair, she doesn't like him very much either. But yeah, this hug and there's other instances people touch him, he's not happy about it. So doesn't like physical contact, has a hard time working with other people. Also in the episode Sidetracked, we see he is chasing these crooks out of the US. They go into Canada and he keeps chasing them even though he's been told he doesn't have jurisdiction there. It takes Monogram repeatedly telling him, we don't have jurisdiction there, stand down, for him to finally do it. So hyperfocus. I think there's also an autistic trait that I haven't actually gotten to talk about yet, but I want to at some point because it is something that I've had to deal with and figure out. Preoccupation with justice and perceived unfairness. So anytime something feels unjust, unfair, a tendency to sort of fixate on making that right, getting upset about it until somebody else makes it right. I think for Perry, that seems to be part of his motivation to be an agent, because he's so devoted to, I need to bring these guys down. You don't understand. This needs to happen right now. And if like the rules are getting in the way of me doing that, then why would I follow those rules? Incidentally, we're going to talk about a couple of vigilantes later on who are probably also on the spectrum, so stay tuned. But yeah, so fixation on justice, and then this hyper focus on bringing these specific guys down. Can we talk about this quote for a second? Because it's also in the Sidetracked episode. We find out a lot about Perry's personality. You're trapped by societal convention. Is that not a wonderful summation of how it feels as just like a neurodivergent person a lot of the time? It's like, I don't understand why what I said was considered inappropriate. I don't feel like I said anything wrong, but apparently I did, because the room went silent and everyone's looking at me funny. So just moment of appreciation for you're trapped by societal convention in the middle of a fine dining environment. Perry's also a highly skilled analyst. In the episode Lost in Danville, when Doof's been kidnapped, Perry is able to pretty much instantly work out the sequence of events just by poking around the apartment and seeing, oh, okay, so Doof must have been at his computer because the computer mouse is disturbed. There's a sandwich on the ground, which means the kidnapper must have eaten a bite of it. All he really needs from anybody else in this circumstance is tell me where this dirt came from on these footprints, because once that happens, I can go right to where I need to be. So yeah, again, Perry's clearly highly intelligent, strategic mind, somewhat difficult around other people except for Doofenshmirtz. And yeah. So yeah, there you have it. The remaining members of the cast of Phineas and Ferb, who seem to exhibit quite a few traits of being on the autism spectrum. This has officially dethroned the Doofenshmirtz video from my longest one ever, but I don't know. I had fun making it. I hope you guys enjoy watching it. Sound off in the comments who's watched season 5 so far. I watched the first half after it came out on Disney Plus, and I'm counting down the days until the second half drops, which apparently won't be for a while, but come on, guys, I'm dying over here. Curious to hear what people think of it. I'm really enjoying it so far. I really liked the slumber party episode, and then the one with where Candace and Doof have the same therapist. I won't say anything more in case you guys haven't seen them yet, but please do. And yeah, thanks so much for 50. We'll see you when we get to 60.